What, guys, is something pretty interesting here, right? Shout out to our brother KG. That's Detroit's #1 draft pick. Some big news broke, and he hasn't been here.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, do you guys see that? You guys see how ironic that
Weird.
is? Weird. We got to
Weird
get
how
into
that
this, man. Big Detroit Lions news broke. It honestly, it shades the way that I was hoping. Kelvin Sheppard has been named the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. You know what's really cool? We know that for the last couple of years of covering this team, Kelvin Sheppard has been one of those guys that has just supported Woodward sports. He continues to go in and like stuff. We've seen him go in and comment on things, and it was cool to see him as soon as a news broke, even before some of the other beat reporters out there could confirm it. He had gone and shared the Woodward Sports breaking news post and said he's ready to get to work. We got to talk about it, man.
Yeah,
I know I like the move, but chat family, let me know if you do, because I know some people wanted it to be something that they worked out outside of the organization.
Well, I mean, let's talk about it, because there are different angles to look at it, but hopefully by the end of this segment, if anybody have any trepidations about Kelvin Sheppard, hopefully you feel just a little bit better, because that wasn't my first choice either, but once you dive into it.
Kelvin Sheppard is now the team's new defensive coordinator. This is something that, as it relates to when we knew Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson for the last couple of years were going to be coordinators that probably wouldn't be here too long, Kelvin Sheppard is one of the guys whose names kept coming up as a potential replacement, and we knew he was being groomed for the position just in case, and he came away with the job. It was interesting to see that there was some other rumors and noise out there about them potentially interviewing Larry Foote and such, but Kelvin Sheppard is the guy, and it was cool to see a lot of the LSU faithful where he played his college ball, coming out of the woodworks, man. There were so many people, both that he played with in the NFL, people that he played with at LSU, people that he played against, both in the NFL and college, and fans everywhere that were like just hailing this hire and decision by the Detroit Lions. And Flannel, I gotta ask you, I love this. I'm 100% for this. Where are you at? Because I know that there's names out there. There were names out there like Robert Saleh and others. Where are you at right now?
I'm happy, and my happiness came with a little bit more of time to breathe and just doing a little bit more research, because it wasn't my first choice. My first choice was Robert Saleh. He went back to his old team, the San Francisco 49ers, to become their defensive coordinator. Then I names were floated around like Matt Eberflus and Dennis Allen, and I was certainly intrigued, but fuck Dennis Allen now. You're on the Bears. Shout out. Just I gotta throw that out there. But Kelvin Sheppard, I like it for two reasons. Number one, just look how linebackers developed under him. The proof is in the pudding. It is absolutely undeniable. Kelvin Sheppard has been with the organization since 2021. I believe he was just the inside linebackers coach then, but since 2022, he has been the full-time linebackers coach. And just look how many players have absolutely blossomed. I'm not saying it's all Kelvin Sheppard, but I'm sure if you asked guys like Alex Anzalone and Derek Barnes and Rodrigo and Jack Campbell, they'd give credit to Kelvin Sheppard as well, because we all remember what Alex Anzalone was when he got here. Let's just call a spade a spade. He was terrible in 2021. I think he deserved some of the skepticism, which we all gave him, myself included. But ever since then, in 2022, he was a little better. And then last year, he completely broke out, had the best season of his career, was a green dot guy that we could all count on. And this year, when he was healthy, I say he played the best ball of his life. Let's look at Jack Campbell. His first year, a little up and down, I would say more ups than down, but still, you saw what happened in his second year. He completely took that leap. He had over 130 tackles and was the 9th rated linebacker according to PFF. That's growth. That's development. Let's look at Malcolm Rodriguez. Obviously, he comes in as a rookie and probably has a bigger role than was envisioned for him, but he played well. 2023, he took a little bit of a step back, mostly due to the drafting of Jack Campbell. But this season, when he was asked to play due to injuries, Malcolm Rodriguez played the best ball of his career. He was the 16th ranked linebacker according to PFF, and that's Malcolm Rodriguez. That's a big effing deal. And then, of course, to round it all out, Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes, again, terrible as a rookie. 2022, better. 2023 takes another leap. And then this year has the best short sample size of his life, in my opinion, that unfortunately goes down. All of those guys have developed. All of those guys owe Kelvin Sheppard a big debt. And besides for Jack Campbell, those aren't Like, Rodrigo was a 6th-round pick. Derek Barnes was a 4th-round pick. You look at Alex Anzalone, he was off the scrap heap. And Kelvin Sheppard, along with other factors, with those guys being a very good and maybe better than people thought and coachable, really helped develop this into a damn good linebacking core. So Kelvin Sheppard, with what he's done with the linebackers, earned that promotion, in my opinion.
He definitely did. And, in my notes I have here that is the all-coached-up unit. When you look at the different units on this Detroit Lions team, there's a lot of investment sunk in place everywhere. But one of the things that I continue to kind of remark about when we were covering the offseason, this past offseason, is that they didn't do anything different to the linebacking core. But you saw gains and you saw growth. You've seen who Alex Anzalone has become, like you pointed out. And I know how people felt initially when Jack Campbell was a pick versus how people feel today about who Jack Campbell is. And he held it down pretty well in the absence of Alex Anzalone. But even then, Alex Anzalone and the player he became here, Kelvin Sheppard had something to do with that. And when you talk about the all-coached-up team, the all-coached-up unit, there's something there, a word that you used there. These guys have continued to develop. And what was his position at LSU in 2020 as an administrator? Director of player development. And then he went instantly after that the next year and became the outside linebackers coach for the Detroit Lions. So it's like, you know what? This is where at least the football world has already identified that Kelvin Sheppard is a plus. Not just player development for linebackers, overall. And that's what I like about where his mind is, and the track record that you so eloquently laid out is that players underneath Kelvin Sheppard have a track record of improving. And now when you're talking about this defense and some of the young players we have on it, like a Terry and Arnold, I can't wait to see what philosophies Kelvin Sheppard has that can now be more throughout the course of this defense and this philosophy and this ideology after Aaron Glenn laid what I believe is a really, really good foundation.
Yeah, and Kelvin Sheppard, obviously, from what I laid out and from what I've kind of been watching and looking at when it comes to linebacker developments, that's a pretty good sign that he deserved the promotion and is going to do well. We still have to wait and see because he's never been a defensive coordinator. However, I also wanted to look back at just the history of the NFL. And going from a positional coach to a first-time defensive coordinator is something that happens all of the time. And that's what happened to Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn was the DB's coach of the Saints and then goes to the Lions as a first-time defensive coordinator. Has some ups and downs at the beginning, but is very successful. Let's look at Robert Saleh. He went from the linebackers coach for the Jaguars to the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, does a great job. DeMeco Ryans, inside linebackers coach for San Fran, gets the promotion to their defensive coordinator. Let's go to even the bigger heavyweights. Before Bill Belichick was Bill Belichick, he was the special teams and linebackers coach for the Giants, gets promoted from within and becomes the greatest defensive coordinator of all time and then maybe the best defensive head coach period of all time. Let's go to even another heavyweight. Buddy Ryan, remember the 85 Bears, the 46 defense, goes from the D-line coach for the Vikings to a first-time defensive coordinator for the Bears. His son Rex goes from a D-line coach from the Ravens, promoted to the from within to the defensive coordinator of the Ravens. I know, stop typing, Kelvin Sheppard's going to become Bill Belichick. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just messing with you guys a little bit. But the reality is there is all kinds of precedent of guys going from positional coaches to being highly successful defensive coordinators their first time around. So this is the natural progression of coaching in the NFL. If you're a successful positional coach, and if you're the Lions, seeing what Kelvin Sheppard did, you obviously want to promote from within and not let him get away to some other team.
Definitely. When I looked at the video of him kind of giving Malcolm Rodriguez his flowers as a rookie, that's where I saw, this guy is definitely a leader of men. And it was more than just the linebackers in that room while he was speaking. And it was just kind of the intensity, the command that he had, the way that you could tell that those guys followed after him. That's what I love about Kelvin Sheppard. And he's one of those guys that was very, very active on the sideline. You could see his presence. You could see his energy. You could see his flair and his fire. And it's the same type of stuff that we saw out of Aaron Glenn, the same type of stuff that we saw and we see out of Dan Campbell. And so to be able to kind of keep that recipe for those players to kind of still have the identity, that corporate culture or that team identity, still feel the same, still have some parts of the same type of terminology. And no, this guy's been in the trenches with us. He knows exactly who we are, what we've been through, and where we're trying to go. And Kelvin Sheppard understands that. He's gone through now the pain of the last 2 seasons. And I do believe that those things, along with the football acumen and knowledge that he's shown, is his ability already to show that the football world has identified him as a person that's very, very, very good with player development. And then we see that on the NFL pro level as well. I'm excited for what Kelvin Sheppard is going to bring to this defense overall, and they've already moved to help bolster that. When you look at Casey Rogers and such, that's where I'm just like, you know what? Let's go Detroit Lions. They're not just lying down, for lack of a better word. This is an organization that is coming through on its promises. They said that they're going to continue to build. They said that they have Super Bowl window, and they got some young dogs that are hungry to prove that.
You definitely do. And you got a young dog, now defensive coordinator, who's hungry to prove things as well. JB Smoove, how you feeling about Kelvin Sheppard getting that promotion from within as opposed to them going outside the organization?
I'm pretty happy about it. I mean, I like the idea of them promoting from within, as you said as well, too. I know this isn't going to be huge game changing. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of mistakes and some fumbles, as that first, new head defensive coordinator spot for him as well too. But I believe he still has the back of every single person in that locker room on that defense, and I think the will of the city as well too. Like I said, it's going to be rough that first go around, but trust me, once he has a little bit more time, everything will work out fine. I know he might not be the first choice of everyone out there, but I think it is the right choice for Dan Campbell and the rest of this organization.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, he has the track record of coaching up the linebackers. There's a lot of precedent in terms of this kind of movement as your natural progression, going from a successful positional coach to a defensive coordinator. Chase, Kelvin Sheppard, are you happy with the promotion from within by the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disappointed with the move. I'm still a little numb to the NFL right now. I have no rooting interest in the Super Bowl. Whoever wins is just going to be the Super Bowl champion of this year, and it's not the Lions, and that sucks. And so just looking forward to hopefully the improvements we can make going into next year. Obviously Kelvin Sheppard has that bitter taste in his mouth, so he's going to want to rinse it out and just be just as motivated as everybody else is coming back to right the wrongs of last season. So I'm kind of just hoping we can just fast forward to August.
I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one. if it was only so easy. But you know what? When you talk about starting to rinse that bitter taste out of your mouth, I do think it starts with hires like this one, and it's why I do. We've deliberated about it, and you know what? This coaching staff, it's one where it's already been starting to get poached, at least on the offensive side and on the defensive side. Obviously, Terrell Williams is gone. And on the offense, we know that there was a couple other players that were getting poached. Ben Johnson said he wouldn't do it, but we know that he was able to go and snag a couple. And one of those names that people were getting worried about was Hank Fraley potentially leaving the Detroit Lions as well. But he's staying on as offensive line coach of the Detroit Lions while also becoming a run game coordinator. And Flannel, I got to ask you this, and you got to tell us after the break, man, after this, when we get to this next segment, how important is this for the Lions? Because everything has to be viewed within the scheme of not just pretty good football, but taking advantage of what the organization, the coach and the GM and the players have said is a Super Bowl window.
Yeah.
Everything has to be viewed through that lens. So let's say what up though to our friends, and we got to talk about this chat family. Hey, let's get that like poll up too, man. We got to see who the real Detroit sports fans are, JB Smoove.
Oh, I got you.